Welcome back to Dear Dog Fanatic. I'm your host, Kirsten, but you can call me Kay. I am a virtual dog trainer and dog mom of 3, and today we have a special guest. Tina, please take a moment, introduce yourself and your pup.
Well, thank you so much. I am so glad to be here. Yes, I am Tina Weller, and I actually have a full-time dog, and then I have I'm going to say a bonus dog. So my full-time dog is an English Bulldog named Cleopatra. I have always had English Bulldogs longer than I've had children. And then my part-time dog that sometimes travels with me also is he's basically a black lab, but he's actually a little bit of a mix and he's just the best. And his name is Booney.
Love that. Okay, so immediately, because I'm curious, I know my listeners will be curious, what does a bonus dog look like in this scenario? I'm assuming this means part-time dog, but walk us through. How did that happen?
This particular dog is with me part of the time when I am actually traveling with my fiance, I
Oh,
guess is
amazing.
what I'll say. So he is with me, he is with him full time, and he's with me time when we're together. We'll put it that way. So it's kind of like having bonus kids. I
I
have
was
a
about to
bonus
say that
dog.
makes complete sense. This is like your step dog, your bonus dog.
It
Amazing.
is. And I
And
love
does
the word bonus instead of step. It
mm,
just seems a little bit more positive.
I concur. I concur. I can't speak from a parental standpoint. I am not a parent myself, but you notice the attitude change. Words have meaning. Do
Yeah.
Booney and Cleopatra get along?
Yes, they do. It's kind of like the brotherly sisterly love, as
Oh,
soon as we get together, we open up the door and grab and they run around and then pretty soon they could care less about each other.
like true
Yep.
siblings. So you travel as well as are potentially stationary for folks who are just tuning in or perhaps unfamiliar with your work. I know that you are a grief counselor. So can you speak a little bit about how that works with the travel and the dogs? Tell us a bit about you and your life.
Thank you so much for asking. I love that question. Well, I will tell the short version of it because of course we can always look into more later. The travel involves what I call the miracle bus.
Okay.
And the Miracle Bus became an entity that is a real 15 passenger bus that I originally purchased for my son to be able to travel. And the reason that I work with grief and grief counseling and support is I am a widow myself and I am also a bereaved mother. And from that, things organically came together. Now, when I go back to the fun and the travel, and it involves the dogs even more, there's multiple funny stories there. But I purchased this bus because my son wanted to travel when he was on hospice, including ventilators and life support measures. Well, let's figure it out. So I bought the bus, gutted it out, made it into a portable hospital, and within 2 months, we were on the road headed across the country to travel. So the short version of that you may have more questions from, but the story goes that I took 2 caregivers with me because of course he needed complete
Mhm.
support 24 hours a day, a driver, a dog, and a mini lop rabbit. And we headed out across the country.
You are such an interesting person. This might be the most interesting story. No offense to anyone else I've ever had on the podcast, but wow, that is so much. And evidently, I can feel it through the screen. So hopefully, listeners can as well. Very heavy subjects, but thanks to a very positive and it seems like can do attitude, because so many folks, they would just think, oh, that's just not possible, unfortunately, for you to go achieve this. Speaking about your son and the fact that you made that happen, that's absolutely incredible.
Yes, and I appreciate you so saying that. We had not only the can do attitude, because sometimes it wasn't necessarily there, but I'm like, all right, what are we going to do about it? Let's figure it out. And we knew that it was going to support us going in towards the future on any journey that we had, because it's so much more powerful to be able to enjoy and have fun doing what you're doing. And I have always enjoyed almost proving someone wrong. If someone tells me I can't do something, let's go.
I love that. And so now take us on the journey. So how does this now relate to, I know the original intent of the magic bus, did you call that the miracle bus?
The Miracle
The
Bus. Yes, the
miracle
Miracle
bus.
Bus.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's the original story. And then how does that continue to today with in your practitioner work and your travel with your dogs and this amazing big life that you have with your bonus dog and your fiance? How does that all fit together?
Well, I love you asking that question. I don't think I've been at this is perfect. So what I have been working on now and doing is the Miracle Bus itself. I actually had that title. I thought that's a perfect because it actually enabled us to almost perform miracles. We had a generator on there. We had an emergency backup because if you are on life support measures, you not only have to have the backup, but the backup of the backup
Absolutely. Yeah.
and those other caregivers with us. And we had fabulous memories that we made photos and all this stuff. Then, as time went on, Cole did pass. We knew that he was going to pass. He was ready. His body was tired. So again, I don't want to bring us down because that was just a transition for all of us. And so from that, I took some time and then I still have the bus. I'm like, wow, what are we going to do? People started coming to me and I pulled in my a little bit of my background of the psychology, some of the practitioner work that I'd done. There's no way that that thing was going to just sit there and nothing happened to it. So that's more importantly, the Miracle Bus came into fruition. I actually decided on a whim last year to take off. I loaded myself and one of those dogs, the Cleopatra went with
Yeah.
me. The mini lap rabbit, Pearl. Wait, I don't want to forget her just because we're talking about dogs. They
Absolutely.
do get
Is
along
Pearl
very
still
well.
with you?
She is, yes. And they get along famously, which seems funny.
I'm speaking, I have a French bulldog, so not quite to the same stature as your Cleo. He loves female English bulldogs, though, actually. As a puppy, he used to follow one around all the time back when I was working as a manager at a boarding facility. As a little side note, but I can believe it with their disposition because there's always going to be differences dog to dog, but these guys, they're clownish, they're friendly, they enjoy, my guy at least, likes his sunbathe, likes to relax. The prey drive isn't as high with them, so that to me makes sense why he would be buddies with a bunny.
Yes.
Or
And
she,
I'll tell
sorry,
you
with
that,
Cleo.
yes, and I can tell you what has come organically as she travels on the bus. She is fiercely protective of that bus and everything that's in it. Her human brother used to be in it and she was protecting him. So now it's me. So at no time do I have any concerns of me traveling alone as a woman with my dog and my rabbit. And the reason that I'm traveling alone when I say that is because I headed out and didn't tell anybody where I was going last year. I was gone for 7 weeks' time and drove 4,000 miles
Wow.
and figured out in that amount of time, and a dog was along the journey all the time. And I'm telling you, it's a good way to get attention. And I know a lot of people know that. You take your dog for a walk in the park and you're going to get some attention. It sparks up that conversation. It's like, oh, can I pet them? Or yes or no. And well, what are you doing here? I started figuring out, well, I love that. So I could utilize not only the bus because it's a big visual, but then we have the dog that gets out. It's all the conversation starter I needed. And it
Cleo's
ends up
the
that I'm traveling across the country to support others and it happens to be mostly women. And I ended up going to many different states and speaking with organizations. It really started happening organically. And it was amazing.
That is absolutely incredible. Yeah, Cleo definitely sounds like she's a brand ambassador for yourself in the Miracle Bus. And so you'd go to speak at these events. Is there a book on the horizon? I feel like if you don't have a book, there should be a book coming out because your story's just too incredible to not be shared.
I love that question also. And I was in a book collaboration last year. There is a new book collaboration that's coming out that is all about things that are more of a nonprofit and going towards the supporting that. So that is getting ready to come out. And my part of that, the chapter is actually called The Miracle Bus
Mm.
because I thought this is becoming real. This is very exciting. And with that, that will offer a little bit broader information for everyone. And as I've been talking to you, I mean, really just now, I'm thinking something that I used to do that I want to pull back out. My dog before, when I would have an unveiling or something new happening,
Mm.
actually put out a newsletter and she had her own little column.
Amazing. Yeah,
I need to do
absolutely.
that again.
You do.
I need to do that
She's
again.
she's definitely part of the team. And people laugh because I'll say, okay, I'm a one woman show here. I'm a team of one when it comes to my business and my practice at this point with my three furry coworkers. And people say, like, what do you mean your dogs help you with your business? I'm like, they actually do a lot for the brand. One, they star in a lot of content, but also I bounce ideas off of them. Do they talk back? No. But having a dog there with you, and I imagine your rabbit, very similar situation. It's very different to when you are by yourself. I have been a solo woman traveler. I've lived on my own by myself without any other humans or dogs. And I can tell you it makes a difference. And obviously now I'm happily married and my husband and I have these three dogs together, but I can speak to it is very different if it's just you as opposed to
Mhm,
even having the dog there makes a big difference in both your business and your life, and
mhm.
especially you with your traveling in your bus.
And I appreciate you saying that. And I've just got another level of excitement right now that I didn't necessarily expect.
Oh,
So I'm hoping that your listeners out there, this is exciting for them too, and they can see the different possibilities. Really, the possibilities are endless. You don't have to have a bus to travel in or an RV to travel in. The important thing that I'm kind of coming up with as I'm listening to you is you just have to have the idea that you want to do
yes.
something.
Yes.
You want to do something. You want to make that memory. You want to go forward. And it may involve another animal or a dog. We happen to be talking about dogs here. It may involve your traveling into the journey. But I have always had a dog my whole life. And I just happen to have had the most English bulldogs because that is what my love of the dogs because their personalities are just, I don't know, they just as soon, I'll be honest with you, it's kind of like snoring and passing gas sometimes, even though her name is Cleopatra. That doesn't make any difference. Snoring is her famous thing. So, and we get along famously because she also, supports me and protects me, loves me. And of course, I love her right back. And we travel and sometimes we get people's attention and it's kind of fun.
As you're speaking there, it really reminded me one thing that I repeat probably too often. People are probably sick of it, but I speak to compatibility being super important when it comes to choosing a dog. I liken it to it's kind of like having a child, roommate, and spouse all in one when it comes to you're spending your whole life with them. They're with you all of the time. You have to make sure you have shared activities. Can you imagine being with someone partnered in life and you don't actually like doing anything together? So there's a
Mhm,
lot of
mhm.
considerations. And this was coming from my mind as you're speaking to your affinity of the English Bulldog. Can you explain, like, why is Cleo and English Bulldogs in general so perfect for you specifically? Maybe your personality, but especially now that you're in the Miracle Bus, like, what about her makes that feasible? Because I imagine not that it's not possible with different types of dogs or things like that, but that probably is a contributing factor to why you, her, and the Miracle Bus all work together, especially with the rabbit as well.
Yeah, and you know what? I hadn't thought of it that way, but yes, one thing with English bulldogs, you do need to be careful. They're sensitive to heat, and I got to tell you, so am I. So that just one way that we work out perfectly. We would like to, of course, I'd be outside when you're traveling in the bus. I've done camping and different things, but when it comes down to it, I like to be comfortable, at least a breeze, a fan, an air conditioner. Same thing, really, for their livelihood. It's very important because their short stature. She's about knee high and weighs 60 pounds. Now, if you can envision that, she's solid. So the other thing, it's just the calm because she does relax and rest. I don't know how many hours a day. An English bulldog is probably sleeping, I know the majority of the day. Right now, she's under my desk at my feet.
Fabulous.
And she came from the experience of 4 years ago and before when my son was still here, she was with him by his bed all the time. And when we traveled with him, she was with him by his bed. It was cute. She was his guard dog, that's for sure. And then now she's doing the same thing, that natural protection. And I love that. But I think it's that calm. When you just ask that calm, that relaxed, and at the same time, I want to smile and kind of laugh. When someone comes up that's unexpected, it's
Yeah.
fierce. I mean, you do not know with that. And I've had her professionally trained just because of the traveling. I wanted to make sure that she would obey the commands
Yeah.
without any problem because honestly, she said she's going to attack and she'll scare somebody. So I think about that and I'm like, maybe I am a little bit like that. I'm quiet and calm. And it goes back to over the history. The whole reason that the Miracle Bus came into fruition is because lots of people thought it couldn't be done. It can't be done. You can't transition something into something to travel with when you need the ventilators to live. You need the hospital. Well, let's turn it into a hospital. Let's go. So that's kind of like that fierce bulldogness of bullheaded. There you go. The bullheadedness. Might as well bring that in on here. My goodness.
As you're just speaking there, an idea sparked in my mind of I know that there are a lot of therapy dogs out there, dogs trained to go into being a sort of emotional support in hospital settings and retirement homes because there has been research done into the therapeutic benefit of the presence of animals. And you were just speaking about how Cleo was so devoted to your son and staying by his side while in the Miracle Bus and at home. Do you think that that helped him at all as you were traveling in the Miracle Bus?
And one of the most important things in the grief, if I share that just a moment, is to
Absolutely.
continue to say the person's name.
Mhm.
That's one of the best things that you can do because it keeps their memories alive. So Cole was the name of my son's name, and he did. Cleo was right there with him. She would jump on his bed, and anytime before that, she was not supposed to. She knew that she wasn't supposed to because we had medical equipment up there and,
Totally,
the
absolutely.
ventilator, the tubes and everything to be. And, she'd wait and ask and then she'd jump up there. But no, she was very much, he'd lay on there. He would ask to have the bunny with him and she would be on him also because I believe, and I know with us, I can only speak for myself, it's comforting and relaxing. The animal loves that too.
Yeah, deep pressure therapy, a lot of service dogs will be trained to offer that. Different contexts for different people, but it can be quite helpful when people are having a strong emotional reaction to something. That deep pressure therapy can be quite helpful. And obviously, the size of the deep pressure therapy, like the animal performing, that can make a difference. So it makes sense why Cole would prefer the bunny. And so sorry, what is your rabbit's name?
Pearl.
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 Apologies. Yes. It makes sense given the situation that he'd prefer little Pearl as opposed to 60-pound Cleo with all that love to give, but that probably would have been a bit much for deep
She
pressure therapy
was
on his
she would
chest.
be down at the bottom of the bed by his legs and
Nice.
things. And then we finally found a way that I could get her almost a little cot right beside his bed.
Mm.
So she'd be laying right beside him on her own and things. So of course I've got lovely pictures of that kind of stuff. It's so much fun. But yes, she absolutely did. Her whole life she was with Cole. And
Mhm.
her whole life she's been with me. So that's absolutely different. Just again, as you mentioned, just to go back to that, we've got someone to talk to. And I said, we've got someone to pass something by. I said, oh, you want to go? You want to go get the mail? You want to go outside? That tone of voice.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, yeah, I do.
I
They
think
don't want to go for a walk, though. I can tell you that about an English Bulldog. The answer is no. They lay down.
So thankfully she gets to ride in style on the Miracle Bus
That's
instead
right.
of needing to walk
That's
all
right,
that
and
way.
then I still left the double doors like the regular bus open, and it's got windows all the way down, so she sits right there and looks out so the people that are driving past us, they get the view of her. We get all kinds of excitement. They look at the dog, and I have to have people will slow down, so then they can pass us again
Yeah.
and slow down when we're, like, on an interstate. I was like, "There she's getting some attention."
Well, I mean, it's definitely I want to use the word iconic, but it's a very strong, positive image of this woman by herself driving this large bus with the English Bulldog and the passion in the passenger seat or,
Yeah,
riding shotgun with you.
yeah.
And then if people could only see the buddy as well, it is truly such a unique mental
And
image that I have in my
actually, that
mind.
visual, the back has a door with
Hmm.
the window at the bottom. The bunny's back there.
Amazing. Yeah,
I know, it's hilarious.
it's truly something out of a novel or a TV show. You know what I mean? It's like the main character rolls into town and something's about to happen. They just kind of have that energy about them. So I imagine you bring a lot of smiles to people's faces, even just passing them on the
It
interstate.
absolutely, and that is all that I wanted to be able to have that journey and the business that I have done. It's actually called Journey with Good Things. So that's the working with others. It's a practitioner and the things. Then as a side, the Miracle Bus is taking on a life of its own. So, I would love to be able to share that with you here in the future so then your audience can check that out. And
Well,
that would
absolutely. This is the perfect time. Perfect segue. Share where people can find you, how they can work with you, how they can learn more in both the Miracle Bus and your practice.
yeah. Yeah. The regular website that just goes to a landing page right now that you can book on the calendar if you're interested is journeywithgoodthings.com. And then the Miracle Bus can be found on Facebook. And I was saying that out loud and I had the big smile because I'm like, oh, I need to start posting some of these things. This interview just got me so excited because I have all these things. I have photo proof of all these things.
Absolutely.
to share them on there. So go on there and follow the Miracle Bus and see where we're going. I might be somewhere near you.
Especially saying that you've done speaking engagements as well, just in case any of the listener out there are hosting events. So what kind of events or speaking engagements, if any, are you looking for at this point? Just so people know that they might not think, oh, maybe I'm not a good fit. Maybe they actually do know somebody that it would be great to connect you with.
Yeah, thank you. I support women that are in grief,
Mhm.
particularly maybe widows, bereaved mothers, but any woman that would like to ease into the new you after that loss in the future. So stepping forward in their journey after loss. And that is where the Miracle Bus has come again to fruition because that's how I travel across the country and go to these engagements.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, Tina, to speak with us today to share the story of Cole and the Miracle Bus, and obviously his and your amazing animal companions, both Pearl the rabbit and Cleopatra the bulldog. Who, for listeners, I've not heard or seen a peep this entire call, but Tina assures us that she's underneath the desk. So clearly, that calm and peaceful collectiveness that she was speaking of is holding true today. So thank you so much. All of Tina's information will be in the show notes, so don't worry. You can click those links, and we will see you next time on Dear Dog Fanatic. Thank you.